The starving artist, we don't know her, because no matter how much you might hear that you can never make money from your art, you simply can. And guess what? You do not even need to know 100% of the how. I want you to be able to turn this hobby into a full-time business, mainly because I cannot fathom the idea of anybody on earth working a job that they are not 100% obsessed with. I fully believe that you can do literally anything you set your mind to, including whatever artistic career you want to do. You just need to implement some strategies. So let's break down how to finally turn this hobby into a thriving career. I cannot guarantee you it's gonna happen overnight, and if you want it to happen overnight, then this ain't the video for you. But if you want a creative BFF to help you throughout that journey, because girl, I'm on the same journey right now, then feel free to hit the subscribe button. And if you do, then I will show you more videos with this vase in it, because isn't this the cutest vase ever? And like, wouldn't you want that? These are the 4 main steps that I am currently taking to turn my passions and pursuits into something that can make me money, because what don't we love about that? We're going to get created a service, scale that service, transition from that service into our creative business, and then follow the art of keep going. In regards to services, you might have heard me use the term cozy girl job. And the cozy girl job is what I'm in right now. Very grateful to be in it. Basically, it's the concept of getting a remote job. You work with very nice people that don't emotionally drain you in a skill set that you are naturally good at. Equally, it doesn't take you so much energy to work towards. Because I majored in theater and I did a lot of writing because I had a liberal arts degree, I am an SEO blog writer. I taught myself some SEO, and so writing for me is like the least common denominator, if that makes sense. It's very easy for me to do already. I can kind of work whenever I want to, as long as the deliverables are delivered, then we good. If you are creative and you went to school for something in engineering or math or something that's not in the digital marketing realm, which is something that I suggest a lot of creatives to go towards the digital marketing realm, I think it's perfectly fine for you to find a cozy girl job that is remote with nice people in that particular realm. I just use digital marketing because I think it is very easy for most creatives to build their skills up, especially if they don't have a lot of experience. Blog writing, social media management, maybe even like virtual assistant work, digital business manager work, graphic design if that's something you went to school for, because I know you need to know Adobe and a lot of advanced tools like that. If you are currently not in a cozy girl job and you are looking for something to transition into, I do recommend digital marketing for a few reasons. The first reason is that creatives are naturally good at it. We are visual, expressive creatures. Digital marketing, in essence, is a way of communicating a feeling to an audience. Think about social media. There are so many businesses out there that need their social media done, but they don't even know where to start. And yes, it might be really helpful for you to take a social media course, but once you do that, you can literally offer this as a service, or you can work full-time too. A cozy girl job can also be full-time if it's the right job for you. We're talking consistent income that's bringing you a paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, every month that you can rely on. I also love digital marketing because it's in really high demand. Every single business is looking for blog writing, website design, social media management, visual creative ways of marketing themselves. And your ability to be an artist already puts you at a very high advantage to make it so much easier for you to learn these skills, much more than a lot of other people. We're talking about, I don't know if you've ever taken a class and it was like you were learning things for the first time, but at the same time you were like, that makes sense. I always wondered about that, but that totally makes sense. It almost seems like you've known them the whole time, but you just didn't quite know how to piece the pieces together. That is how I felt in acting school, and I am not here to say at all that I knew acting technique for my whole life, but when I was learning these techniques, I was like, of course, that's how it's done. They're can't be any other way to do it. That makes total sense. It was like an aha moment, but I didn't really know it beforehand. I also recommend specific parts of digital marketing as a service for you to learn because it can help you in your creative business moving forward. Think about the skills that if you were at the level you want to be at, you would hire someone else for. Maybe you would hire someone to do social media management or blog writing or website design. If you learn these skills and get paid by other people to do them, you are then building up your income and your savings to be able to then invest into your creative business, but also you're getting free training on actually how to do this for yourself so that when you do have the time and resources to invest more into your business, you know, like the back of your hand, how to make a social media account, how to make reels, how to write blog posts, SEO optimization, whatever digital marketing magic you might be teaching yourself or learning. I also want to make a video about this because it could be a whole other video of the ways that you can learn digital marketing. Now, if you're playing around with the idea of going to university, you could totally go to school for marketing and learn so much about that. You can also join an online course to teach you more about being a social media manager or being a virtual assistant, digital business manager, something in digital marketing. There's so many amazing courses out there. Just make sure you do your research. Dea has some great courses on how to be a digital business manager, and there's a lot of people who have courses on how to be a freelancer. You can also educate yourself. If you feel like you're at a level where like you know social media enough, but you just want a little bit more of an understanding, and you don't have the budget to invest in college or courses, YouTube University was my best friend. That's basically just go on YouTube and watch things. I did a ton of that in 2020. That is how I learned everything I know about social media, SEO, basically everything digital marketing. It probably would have been a lot faster if I invested in a course, but I didn't have the funds at that point to do that. So whatever space you're at right now, if you have the funds, you can invest in that. If not, YouTube is your friend. And the thing is, you only really have to be a little bit better than your client. We're not saying you have to be the most world-renowned social media manager ever. There are businesses out there who haven't even touched their social media because they wouldn't even know where to start. They don't know how to use things like Canva. They don't understand branding and things like that. Even if you just know a little bit about that, you can charge services. So I want you to really think about any skills that you have, things that you love. If you love scrolling through social media, if you love making short form videos, maybe start thinking about that. If you really love writing and you're an introvert and you kind of just like putting your head down and writing blog articles, writing long form things, that's what I like to do, maybe blog writing is your path. I guarantee that you have all of the skills you need right now, or at least all of the potential to start selling services. You might just need to learn a little bit. And that could be free too. Our next step is to scale that service. Once we actually understand how to deliver that service and how to work with clients, or even how to have a full-time job and work with a team, now you wanna use tools to scale your cozy girl job. There are so many things that I have done within the past 3-ish years to help me scale. The concept of scaling really is that we know that we don't want to do this full time. Cozy girl job is amazing. We love her, but also we don't want her forever. We want our creative career. So we need to scale this in order for us to take some time off our hands. We don't want this to take up 8 hours a day. We want this to be as least effort, delivering quality, but we're not over extending ourselves. We don't want to be like spending every waking hour working on this, because then we don't have time for our art. First order of business, if this isn't a thing already, I would say make this remote. Unless you're a person that literally gets energized by going into an office or going somewhere and then coming back home and you could totally keep being creative, I say make things remote, because you have the flexibility to more or less work where you want, definitely, when you want, to an extent, depending on your team. And that way, you're not as exhausted when it comes to your creative business. There are obviously some boundaries you have to create for yourself. When you work remotely, it can be very hard to create those boundaries. If your home is your office, then your office is your home, and sometimes you feel like you could work at 9 p.m. in your bed, even when you should be done guilty as charged. Another one is habit stacking, which is basically finding habits to make you more productive by stacking them onto things that you're already doing. This is also part of ritualizing and romanticizing things, making habits and chores more enjoyable for you. This could be a really nice way if you have tasks that you have to do in your cozy girl job, but you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do it, but if I don't do it, then I can't do my creative career, and so I have to do it. So different ways that you can make things more enjoyable so you can celebrate those little wins and actually enjoy your day-to-day life, so you're not just focusing on this one goal and not actually being grateful every day for this work and this life and this vibe. Time blocking is also another really wonderful way of seeing how long things are taking, planning out your weeks, your days, and generally just auditing your life a little bit. I started time blocking when I started my cozy girl job. I used this app called Toggle. What was cool about it is that I would track how long it would take me to work with certain clients and certain jobs. This was before I had decided I'm gonna do content writing. So I was doing a little bit of everything. I was doing some virtual assistant work, some blog writing, some social media management. I would start to physically track how long things were taking me so I could see, am I feeling really stuck in certain areas? Am I really fast at blog writing and really slow at social media? By doing that, I would eventually be able to see what clients was taking up the most time, what clients were taking up the least time. Then I can see, okay, maybe let me lean more into blog writing because I tend to be faster at that and I can make more money at that. Time blocking can also be this concept that I've heard a lot of people doing, which is like theming your days. So if you have this flexible job where you can have a little bit more control over your weeks, like on Mondays are your content organization days or your work organization days. Maybe that's when you take all your calls, when you set up your work for the week, plan for some of your creative projects that you want to do throughout the rest of the week. Tuesdays might be content creation if that's the sort of vibe that you're doing within your creative career. Maybe that's recording YouTube videos, writing blog posts for your blog, actually doing your art, recording songs you're singing, physically doing your art, whatever that might be, and so on. Actually making a theme to each of your days. Things are gonna take less time when we're not context switching. Think about all the tasks that you're doing throughout the week, from chores to creative career things to cozy girl job things. If you're just going down the list every day and you're like, I'm gonna wash my tub and then record a YouTube video and then write a blog post for my client, it is gonna take your brain so long to set shift for all those things. This idea of time blocking is saying, okay, let me spend just this dedicated time, like 2 hours washing the bathroom. Then I will spend 2 hours writing maybe several blog posts for a client on another day or later on in the day. Physically blocking these things out in your calendar so you can see what you're doing and not get distracted by other things. When I'm recording YouTube videos, I like to batch them. So I like to do a few in one day. Instead of, for me, I have to write 8 blog articles for a client per month. I like to do maybe 4 one day, 4 the other day, and then I'm done for the rest of the month. Think of things that you can batch together. Like if you already have all the cleaning supplies out for this upstairs bathroom, maybe you'll just go and do the downstairs bathroom too, batching 2 things. You have everything out already. Even with creativity, I know this can kind of get weird because creativity is so spiritual and so intentional that sometimes it just comes to us and we can't control that, and that's totally fine. But for me right now, Static and I are working on about 4 songs, and so what we're gonna do is we have kind of batched that process of, we have a demo recorded of each of them, and then we're gonna work with our drummer to maybe record 2 or 3 songs in one day. So we have that all batched out. So it's not like, okay, let's do one day for this song and then let's do the next song this day and then the next song this day. We want it to be intentional. We plan to honestly have all those songs ready, recorded, mixed, and mastered, and then just releasing them within a few months of each other. We're not like, okay, we finished this one, so now let's go on to the next one in a few months, and then let's go on to the next one. We already have a few batched. That's kind of what happens when you make records. You're batching a bunch of songs into one. I already talked about theming your day. I'm just going to let this graphic speak for itself because I already designed it and it's really pretty and it like fits perfectly. I'm just gonna vibe. I'm just gonna let it sing to us. Contracts is also something within this cozy girl job that is very important if you are not working full time. A big part of why people find that freelancing is really like up and down, on and off, is because there's this overall vibe that working with freelancers can sometimes be very informal. But once you start making freelancing your full-time job, you really want to be able to implement contracts, specifically ones that say, we are working on an ongoing basis. If you, for some reason, can't work with me anymore, you need to give me 30 days notice, things like that to make it more official and to make sure that your booty is saved in case one of your clients doesn't need your services anymore. You aren't just like, I don't have money now. I've definitely worked with clients because I didn't make a contract where they were my sole source of income and they called me one day saying, we need to pause your services. And I'm like, okay, because I didn't have a contract. They could do that. For some people, the idea of running their own freelance business and having contracts is so overwhelming. Some people have a lot more peace of mind working full time, knowing that if they were to get let go, there's severance and things like that. I'm not gonna call that a more secure job because you can make freelancing basically as secure as a full-time job. There are some things with full-time jobs like health care and things like that people just might want to have. We want us to know when we're getting paid. We want this payment to be consistent, specifically because when you're pursuing a creative career, there's nothing more anxiety-ridden than having to worry about how you're gonna pay your rent. There's nothing that makes me less inspired than being like, I am worried about money. I am stressed about money. That is such a real thing. And I completely hear you if you're going through that. So that's why actually learning that service and turning that into a cozy girl job is the first thing that I say. And then the second part is scaling, because now that you have the consistency of that income, you want to learn how to scale it so you're not spending the rest of your life doing something you might not want to be doing. Now it's this fun era of transitioning into this creative career. And this is kind of like where I'm at right now, where I'm not necessarily making a full-time income from my creative career. My cozy girl job is pretty scaled. I have time to do that and also work on my creative pursuits. But when thinking of your creative career, I want you to think about it almost in the same sense of a cozy girl job, that this is a business. As a business, there's always going to be something that you are selling. Are you selling a product, art to sell, creating content, blog content, video content, YouTube content, offering services, acting services, singing services, performance, creating an experience, or maybe you're doing a combination of them. I want you to think about this in perspective of what sort of artist you are and what you are selling, and see how that can be similar to your cozy girl job. I think a big part of this that's important is that just like you see your cozy girl job as a means to make money and as a means to be successful in a sense, you should also see your creative career in this similar light, because once you've achieved this cozy girl job and you say, I learned how to offer services and make that a business, you're essentially doing the same thing with your creative career. You're offering some sort of service or product or experience or content. You're making that into a business. I just want you to see how those are actually really similar, and if you can do one, you can do another. The art of keep going is something that I know sounds really simple, but it's why probably 99% of artists don't succeed, is because they just don't keep going. You gotta keep auditioning, keep creating, keep putting your work out there. There's literally no other way to succeed. I have a few tips on how to do this because it's been challenging. There's been a lot of times that I tried to start something and then I just couldn't keep up with it, and then obviously I didn't see results from it because I couldn't keep up with it. I want you to learn how to create your own work and life boundaries, because you won't be able to keep going if you're too exhausted and you don't quite know the line between your life and your work, because you will overrun yourself and have burnout. I have had it, and it can be very difficult. This is where, going back to time management, time blocking, batching, this can go into it. Even if we really don't feel like sometimes we want to record the video or want to post the blog post, if we are time blocking, if we're ritualizing these things that might feel really tedious sometimes, or even those little tasks, it can help us with the art of keep going. My video on ritualizing is linked right here so you can understand a little bit more of how to do that. But while you're doing this, I know that you're going to feel like a beginner in a lot of senses. When you learn services for the first time, it's gonna take a few months, maybe a few years for you to really have the confidence to be like, yeah, I understand this. And then when you go into your creative career, I mean, I went to acting school and I still feel like there's a bunch of people who have so much more experience than I do. So for that time being, when you don't necessarily feel that confidence 100% in the services you're offering and the hard skills, I want you to focus on the soft skills. Being good to work with, being timely, being communicative, being friendly, things like that go a long way, and you would not believe the amount of people who are not like this. This will 100% make up for the fact that you are still learning. I promise you. This is how I was able to get a cozy girl job, is that I just leaned in on being a really, really nice person to work with, and that helped me tenfold because the people who wanted to hire me saw that I had the ability to learn. That's really what anybody wants, whether it comes from a creative career or a cozy girl job, is we want to work with nice people. Like, would you rather work with somebody who's really, really good at what they do, but they're impossible to work with, not friendly, and they give a bad vibe? Like, I would much rather work with somebody who's a little less qualified, but I could tell if I gave them feedback, they would come back tomorrow and have worked so hard on it. You tell me. And of course, with your cozy girl job, you're going to have to learn how to negotiate rates at some point, whether you are a freelancer and drawing up contracts, or whether you're a full-time employee and you have to request what your salary is going to be. The same thing goes for a creative career. You want to learn how to have understanding and confidence in asking for money for things, which for some people might not be a big deal, but for creatives, we are constantly bombarded with, oh, this would be a good experience. Here, do this for free because of exposure. It's already this weird culture of asking for money. So if you know how to do that from your cozy girl job, you'll be able to have the skills and the confidence to do that in your creative career. The entire concept of turning what you love into a full-time job is an art. There's not one perfect way to do this. I wish there was, because when I was in college, I listened to so many podcasts of people that I wanted to be like, and I tried to follow their path exactly, and it's just never gonna be like that because you have your own skills and your own leverage to do exactly what you wanna do right now. Definitely go to my next video about leveraging your skills as a creative to make this path so much easier. I cannot wait to see where your creative path takes you. Stay inspired and stay creative, and I will see you next time. Bye.